Hi, Sarah here from the Connected Canine with a little video that we made to show you how to get a dog past a fear that they have that might be getting in the way of things that you'd like for them to be able to do. So Penny here is scared of the
Penny
bike,
just
especially when it's
does
moving.
not like the
And we
bicycle.
didn't even realize this until we decided we wanted to take her out for a bike ride. And you can see she
Very
wants
suspicious.
nothing to do with the bike, especially when it's in motion. And this is after a couple of sessions we'd done with her already, getting her used to at least approaching the bike when it was standing still.
Okay. So slow. So we'll try again.
Yeah.
All right.
So here you can see we're using a
So
clicker and some food.
anytime Penny gets close to the bike, she gets a click and a treat. Trying to create a new association. The bike is not scary. The bike, you get near it and you get treats.
You can see Penny's pretty food motivated, so the idea of getting treats for something will help her to overcome that fear. So we're starting to create a new, more positive association with the bike. So this is
Wow.
the next day,
Actually touching it with
her
her paw.
second session working on this, and you can see how much more confident she is already. In a second here, you're going to see her start to put her feet up on the bike,
Nice.
which is huge. She's just
Touch.
already her perception of that bike as something to be feared is starting to change.
This just shows how quickly you can change these things.
Yeah, don't let that bike
Don't
tip
let-
over.
no, that would set us back a little. Good touch. Good girl.
Nice. All right, we'll check back in.
So this is the next day, and you can see Penny's starting to feel a little more comfortable already, and we're going to start asking for a little bit more.
Sarah, why don't you explain what you're doing?
So Penny will come and touch the bike, right? But if the bike moves, you can see she's still really concerned about it. So if our goal is for Penny to be able to go for a bike ride, then she needs to be comfortable with it moving, right? So today what I'm working on is using this lure to get her into position next to the bike. Right, good girl. Good. Good. Once I've got her understanding what I'm looking for, then I'm going to move it a little bit. Ready? Come here. So just be. Good.
So you're treating her for taking a couple of steps.
For not running away when the bike moves. Yeah.
Right, okay.
Ready?
Now I'm using the lure to get Penny to move from side to side behind the bike, which makes it a little easier to get her parallel instead of perpendicular to the bike.
She's all about touching the bike now.
And that's what we want her to get used to, that position of being alongside the bike, so that eventually we can take her for a ride.
Good. Let's see if I can move one step this time. That was
Nice.
excellent.
In this session, you can see for the first time I'm straddling the bike, which makes things a little more difficult for Penny because she's got to get closer to it. And that's the key. We just incrementally increase the difficulty so she can succeed.
So now Sarah's starting to use the wall so that Penny has no choice but to be parallel to the bike.
Hi, Penny.
I'll touch it.
That's not going to do it.
I'll touch the hell out of it.
Come here.
So now I'm going to start using the wall here to make it so that Penny has to stay parallel to the bike as I take one step and then a couple of steps and then a few steps. So again, we're going to keep it really easy for her to succeed at the beginning because this is much more challenging for her. She feels a little bit trapped by the bike here. You can see she's still really unsure once it moves, but she's starting to get the picture. She needs to be alongside the bicycle.
I'm gonna keep going.
Sarah's just clicking her for just, yeah, for standing next to the bike.
That's it, good girl.
So I'm using a lot of clicks and treats in a row here because this is
Yep.
the first time Penny's been willing
Nice.
to sort of hang out beside the bicycle there for
Good
a few seconds at a
job.
time.
Penny actually taking steps next to the bike without running away from it. Sarah's using the wall as a guide.
And we're getting away from using the lures, treats as a lure to get her up next to the bike.
Right.
Now I'm asking her to. Good girl.
So this clip is a huge deal because this is the first time that Penny is actually being willing to move alongside the bike, even though there isn't a wall in the way there that's forcing her to stay next to it.
So every time we make things a little more difficult for her, I find a way to make other things easier. Like having her walk along without a wall to guide her is more challenging. So I'm only going to take 1 or 2 steps and then reward that. Before you know it, she's going to be running along.
And that's really the key to this. We have to break it down into little small steps so that she can succeed and become more confident. So this is the first time we're trying this in a new place. We're actually out in the alley behind the house.
All right, I think we have it this time. There she goes. All right.
This was a huge step for Penny because you can see we have her on leash now. So in the past that would have made her feel really trapped because she can't get away from the bicycle if I'm holding her on a leash. But we've built enough confidence in her being around the bike at this point that she's willing to go along beside the bike for a few steps. But I'm making sure to stop and click and treat her before she has a chance to get panicked about it. I want her to succeed each little step of the way.
What a good job!
And notice how relaxed and happy Penny looks here. She's really kind of enjoying herself.
No leash.
Now that she's having a good time, we took the leash off again because I wanted to see whether she would stick next to the bike for a little ride down the alley, even if she didn't have to. And she did.
Oh. Good girl, Penny. Good. She's loving it.
And here's the finished product. Penny out for a bike ride, having a great time, and getting a little distracted by Dad.